Good afternoon, class of 2014. Congratulations, first of all, to you. President Kerwin, Provost Bass, and Dean Goldgeier, I am truly honored to be here today. Thank you. You, the graduates of American University's School of International Service, you are embarking on a new path and a new exciting chapter of your lives. Whatever path you decide to pursue, each and every one of you can be gratified by the fact that your education here at American University has been grounded in a strong commitment to public service. Founded in 1957, at the peak of the Cold War, SIS has a rich and significant history. At the school's groundbreaking ceremony, then President Dwight Eisenhower embraced SIS's fundamental vision of a school predicated on service to the global community. So each and every one of you, you have a mission to fulfill. Your education has equipped you with the knowledge and tools to go out there and to tackle today's international challenges and to make a difference. You have learned very unique diplomatic skills which can be applied to whatever career you choose, whether it's in development, in diplomacy, law, communications, business, the military, science and innovation, human rights or humanitarian work, or another field. This is a great moment in your lives. You may decide that you want to be in the private sector, but then again, you may decide that you want to be in the private sector. Either track, you can improve people's lives and foster beneficial change. You are our future leaders, our future ambassadors. And to be able to serve is truly an honor. It's gratifying and it's rewarding. Former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, she said, "I suppose if I were asked what is the best thing one can expect in life, I would say the privilege of being useful." Well, as you leave today and you celebrate with family and friends, remember her poignant words. Make yourselves useful. I know that you can. Serve your community, your state, your country. Be involved and contribute to the growth and advancement of our world at large. This is exactly what each and every one of you have been trained for. It's your time. It is your future. I was only 24 years old when I worked for President Ronald Reagan as his Director of European and Soviet Affairs at the National Security Council, the White House. I was very honored to be in this position at that age. There were, in fact, only 3 members of the NSC staff who were under 30. Early one morning, Reagan's National Security Advisor, Judge Clark, called me to say that I was to come in and brief the President on Poland at 8 a.m. "Come to my office, be on time, be ready," he said. Well, I mobilized and I got to the judge's office and we went in to see the President. I have to tell you, I was extremely nervous. I remember going in and thinking how daunting it would be that I would be briefing the President of the United States. Quite a responsibility. Well, I survived, and yes, I did complete the briefing. So, as the renowned author Ernest Hemingway said, "Courage is grace under pressure." Believe me, I remember that quote very well, because at least I felt I came out of there feeling that way. So as you, each and every one of you, as you strive to fulfill your passion, your dreams, think about the power of one, how one individual can truly make a difference and touch and impact the lives of others. You may think that it is difficult to achieve this in today's very complex world. that one individual can actually affect change, but you can, and for the better. Aung San Suu Kyi, the renowned Burmese opposition leader and outspoken advocate of Burma's democracy, visited American University in September of 2012. On that occasion, she had a very important message for you, that American University was one of the very first universities to recognize Burma's efforts at democracy. And she appealed to you. She said, please, use your liberty to promote ours. She said that that message, thanks to you, resounded throughout the world. I had the great honor of meeting her both in the United States and also at her home in Rangoon just last year. Through her moral leadership and courageous actions, she has inspired and influenced not only those in Burma, but many fighting for basic human rights and fundamental freedoms in other parts of the world. Having endured many years under house arrest, she was never deterred from her primary goal to see Burma become a democracy. Aung San Suu Kyi is now a member of the Burmese parliament. Her work in Burma exemplifies how one can make a difference. No oppression can forever deny to people the realization of their core human aspirations. Ultimately, the dreams of the Burmese people will be fully realized, thanks in large measure to Aung San Suu Kyi. Now, when I was Undersecretary of State for Democracy and Global Affairs, I also had the responsibility for a very broad global portfolio, including international women's issues. In January of 2002, the U.S.-Afghan Women's Council was created by President George W. Bush and Afghan President Hamid Karzai. The council was comprised of both Afghan and American women who agreed to focus on 4 key areas, and these key areas were defined by the Afghan women as being crucial to them: education, health, legal and political rights, and entrepreneurship. Well, with this agenda, we all set to work. We needed to get results, to get girls back to school, to enable Afghan women to be able to access health clinics and to get the appropriate health care, to motivate women to run for office and to establish successful business. Results came. More girls are now back in school. 40% of 10 million children in school are girls. The maternal mortality rate dropped from 1,000 to 460 per 100,000 since 2000. Women ran for office. Some 69 are in parliament, and the women have set up a federation of businesses. But I have to share with you my most memorable story from the council. It concerned a woman by the name of Masuda Jalal. She was the Minister of Women's Affairs who ran for president of Afghanistan. And I bet, as I look across and see each of you, I bet you that you do not know that name, Masuda Jalal. Well, we had a video conference with several of our women members of Congress who talked about the mechanics of running for office. Masuda happened to be in the auditorium in Kabul that evening, and she got motivated. She decided to run for president of Afghanistan, and she did, but you know what? She lost. In fact, she knew that she was going to lose. I asked her, well, why did you run if you knew that you were going to lose? She stared at me and she said, simply, because of the next generation of young women. I proved to them that if I could do it, so can they. There are no boundaries to what we can do. We should never underestimate ourselves and the power and the potential that we have to influence and inspire others. You know, there's a wonderful Chinese proverb that says, one generation plants the trees and another gets the shade. I also like the words of former Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. She used to talk about her conversations with her grandfather, saying that he once told her that there were two kinds of people, those who do the work and those who take the credit. Well, she said that he told her, try to be in the first group. There was much less competition. So, a good piece of advice to you, go forth, do the work. Take an interest in the world around you. Be involved. I happen to be of Ukrainian descent, and I'm very, very proud of my heritage. Both my mother, who, by the way, is here today, speaking of Mother's Day, and my sister, and my father. My mother and father, both educators, they instilled in me the importance of knowing and understanding my roots. As I watch the events unfold in Ukraine and the unlawful Russian annexation of Crimea and the massing of thousands of troops against Ukraine, it is a frontal challenge, not only to the most enduring priority of post-Cold War U.S. strategy, preserving Europe whole and free, but it's a challenge to the Western-led international system, those remarkable institutions created, the legal norms put in place, and international treaties signed, all of which have preserved peace and stability for decades. It is also a challenge to the West's unity of purpose. Significantly, what happens in Ukraine not only affects the region, but it does have global ramifications. The world is watching what we do. So you are the generation who will shoulder these very complex international conflicts. You are the generation who will pioneer new policies and paradigms for action. And you will find yourself working across disciplines and collaborating with one another to uphold the fundamental freedoms and territorial sovereignty of Ukraine. You will be engaged in other crises which spring up internationally. So I will conclude on two notes, two words of two women who I admire. They were former leaders. Remember first the words of Donna Shalala. She was the former Cabinet Secretary of Health and Human Services. And she described, in the Clinton administration, and she described leadership as, quote, leaders aren't judged by what they earn, but by what they contribute. And they aren't judged by who they know, but by who they are. The other quote that I love is from the former First Lady, Rosalind Carter. She asserted that a leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be. You're our future leaders. Congratulations and really great luck in the next great chapter of your lives. Thank you. Thank you to you.